All right, let's dive into the amazing and mostly invisible world of microbial teamwork. We're going to look at some really clever research that tackles a question we all think about. Is it better to go it alone or to work as a team? It's a choice we face all the time, right? But for the trillions of microbes that are secretly running our planet, this is a life or death decision. Do you evolve to be a self-sufficient jack of all trades? Or do you specialize and learn to rely on your community? For a microbe, that's an incredibly high-stakes trade-off.
See, for a microbe, this isn't some philosophical debate. Being a generalist means you can survive pretty much anywhere, but you're carrying around a lot of extra baggage. Specializing, on the other hand, makes you super efficient, but it also means you become completely dependent on others to survive.
To really get this, we need to think about a microbe's metabolism as its chemical toolkit. Every single tool in that kit, which is really a metabolic reaction, costs energy to build and maintain. And because resources are always limited, a microbe just can't afford to have every tool imaginable. So it has to choose which ones are absolutely essential.
To figure this out, a team of scientists led by Meghan Thommes ran this absolutely groundbreaking experiment. But here's the twist. Instead of using petri dishes in a lab, they built a virtual world inside a computer to simulate evolution. What they did was they took a super detailed digital model of a very common bacterium, E. coli, and ran what's called an in silico experiment. That just means it all happens inside a computer. You can think of it like a virtual lab, where they can test thousands and thousands of survival scenarios at speeds that would be totally impossible in the real world.
So, how'd they actually do it? Well, they used this powerful algorithm they designed called DOLMN. It's pretty straightforward, really. Step 1, start with a fully functional virtual E. coli. Step 2, systematically start taking away its metabolic tools, its reactions. Then, at each step, it asks a simple question. With this new, limited toolkit, can this microbe survive all by itself? And if the answer is no, it asks the really crucial follow-up. Okay, what if a team of specialists, each with their own limited toolkit, tried to survive by working together?
And what the algorithm discovered was just astounding. It really revealed the incredible and often hidden power of community.
So here's the core finding in a nutshell. When the computer really limited the number of tools available, a single microbe just couldn't handle it. It was missing essential functions, and it just failed. But, and this is the amazing part, a team of 2 specialists facing the exact same restrictions could actually thrive. How? They survived by dividing up the work and doing something called cross-feeding, which is basically where one microbe's trash becomes another microbe's treasure.
Let's put some numbers on this, because this is where it gets really interesting. The simulation figured out that to survive all on its own, a single E. coli needed a minimum toolkit of 254 different metabolic reactions. But get this. When they worked as a team of 2, each of those specialist microbes could get by with a much smaller toolkit, only 215 reactions each. That is a huge gain in efficiency. They were achieving more with less, simply by cooperating. But how they cooperated? Well, that's probably the most elegant part of this whole story. Because when the scientists dug into the data, they saw that the computer had discovered a survival strategy that was both completely brilliant and something you'd probably never think of on your own. Okay, to understand this part, you just need to know about something called the TCA cycle. The easiest way to think about it is like the central power generator of the cell. It's the series of reactions that is absolutely essential for generating energy and all the key building blocks a cell needs to grow. It is the engine. And here is the genius solution that the algorithm found. It split the cell's engine right down the middle. One specialist, let's call it strain X, would perform only the first part of the cycle. And the other specialist, strain Y, would do the second half. They would then trade the molecules in the middle to complete the full loop. This is what the researchers called a deep symbiosis. Neither one of these microbes could possibly survive on its own, but together they functioned like a single, perfectly coordinated machine. So what does a computer simulation of E. coli have to do with the real world? Well, as it turns out, a whole lot. These findings are way more than just a cool computer trick. They're actually a window into the fundamental rules of life itself. Yeah, the implications of this research are massive. First off, it might help solve a really old mystery. Why are there so many microbes that scientists just can't seem to grow in the lab? Well, maybe the answer is we've been trying to grow them alone, when in reality, they're specialists who can't survive without their partners. It also gives us a blueprint for a field called synthetic ecology. Basically, the ability to design and build microbial dream teams to do specific jobs for us.
And the potential applications here are just incredible. Think about medicine. We could design teams of microbes to produce complex drugs right inside the body. Or for energy, we could create specialist teams to make biofuel production way more efficient. And for the environment, we could engineer microbial communities that work together to break down really stubborn pollutants. We're talking about moving from engineering a single organism to engineering an entire ecosystem.
As the authors themselves put it, this whole thing is really about uncovering the fundamental design principles that shape life. It suggests that the insane diversity we see in the microbial world isn't just random. It's the result of these elegant, optimized solutions for survival that are built on cooperation.
And that leaves us with a final, pretty powerful thought. By understanding these deep rules of microbial teamwork, we've basically gained the ability to design our own. So the question isn't really if we can build these teams anymore, but what incredible problems are we going to choose to solve with them? Thanks for tuning in.